Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey, Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show. Morning, Spencer.
Good morning.
We got two great guests in studio. They are the co-chairs for Citizens for Shelton Schools. It's Brad Miller and Kristy Buck. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on and talking to us a little bit about this from a citizen perspective. You can find information on the upcoming Shelton School District replacement levy at sheltonschools.org, and there's a link right there on the front page. Also, these pamphlets are being sent out, should be in people's mailboxes, or they
should have gotten them in the last
should have
week.
gotten them already. It really explains in detail what these are, and as we've been talking with superintendents across the county over the last couple of days about these levies and some kind of facts behind them or some reasons for the need for these, we are coming to understand that we know that a lot of folks in the Shelton school districts have voted for bonds, and bonds are for buildings, and we've seen the outcome of that at the high school, and these levies are for learning. We've had the superintendent from the North Mason schools on the air. Pioneer has been on to talk about this, and Dr. Apostle has also been on to talk about these as well from a kind of school district perspective. You two both are, though, not employed by the district. You're citizens of the community and felt it's important to be a part of this Citizens for Shelton Schools. Firstly, Brad, we'll start with you. Tell us why. I know you're a Shelton grad, Kristy, you as well, but why do you continue and feel the need to continue to support the Shelton school districts?
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, ultimately, it's that I love this community. Grew up here, went to Shelton High School, had the opportunity to leave, travel a lot, but always come back. So now live with the community again, and it's so important for me to see our schools do well. It's important for them to grow and thrive, and I think the track they've been going on here recently has been phenomenal, and I really just want to continue that momentum. I've been involved kind of with the schools for the past 7 years or so, starting with working with the high school pool and making sure we keep that. So it's always just been a passion of mine to make this one of the greatest schools ultimately in the region.
Kristy, what about you?
For sure. Yeah, I echo a lot of things that Brad said. Having been a SHS grad, and my family, my parents, everything, we have a big contingent of high climbers in our family. And it's so important that we have great schools. You know, selling real estate, that is one of the first things people from out of town certainly are asking me is, tell me about the school, tell me about that. So how much fun is it for me right now to be driving by this, the brand new school we just built? There's the other brand new school we just built. It's fantastic. And the momentum going on in Shelton right now is undeniable, and this is just one little part of it.
When it comes to the Citizens for Shelton Schools, when you guys gather to talk about this, what are some of the main themes that you talk about and ways that you try to get the most accurate information out there? Obviously, these fact sheets that get sent out are good amounts of information, but for those who may not have a lot of time to read these or get they see things on social media or whatnot, what are some of the big misconceptions about what this replacement levy is and does? Either of you.
Well, I think one of the ideas is that we, are currently in a levy right now, and people are concerned about their taxes obviously going up. And ultimately what this is that this will start in 2021, and it's just a replacement of the one that we currently have. So the reality is people's current taxes shouldn't really be affected all that much by it. Now there's different caps and levels that the actual dollar amounts come. A lot of that's dictated by the state legislator as well. So I don't know if we are sure what the final number is going to be, but in reality, it's going to be very little difference as far as what the taxes are going to impact the community. And really, there's a lot of great information out there through the Shelton School District, as well as the Facebook page that we have, and hopefully people are looking at the fact sheets. And ultimately, during all of our meetings, is trying to how are we going to best get the word out to the community? So we're trying to be at all the local events that are happening, handing out the fact sheets, just being a resource for people to come and talk to and find out, why this is so important and what this does. Ultimately, when that bond passed, it was a phenomenal thing, and we see the effects of that with those 2 new schools. When I had the opportunity to go on the campus, I was just blown away on how amazing it was, and just wishing I was back in high school. But this is going to now, this new levy, we need this to continue maintaining those buildings as well as the curriculum and educational side.
Sure.
I can see how perception would become reality, and that's why it's so important to get the message out that it is a replacement, so people don't think it's something new.
Right.
And if they enjoy what is being provided to their students in the schools, you would think logically they'd want to extend that.
Yes.
Right.
Has
The
that-
first levy, or the levy right now, expires on December 31st this year. And so this is just going to replace that and continue it on for 3 more.
And if you know this or not, I would assume that the current levy that we're in replaced a levy so many years ago,
Yeah.
which
Correct.
replaced another levy so many years before that, and before
Exactly.
that it's been kind of a ongoing thing that continues to provide some services. When I look at this and I see the different things that it provides on this fact sheet, there's a couple that stand out to me as real community portions to this. I'm looking at the swimming pool, Brad, which I know you were involved with a couple years back, but the maintenance with the pool, but also the maintenance and operation of the auditorium, which I did not think about until I read this here. We have such great programs there as like Bluegrass in the Forest and the Midwinter Bluegrass
Right.
Festival and all those things that make that auditorium at the high school one of the best performing art spaces in the county.
Right.
And this helps to maintain that as a resource for the community. I didn't even think about that one, but
Good
that's
point.
a good one.
Yep.
Some other things that folks are talking with you about when you go to these meetings, these groups, what's kind of the general consensus on this? Do people mostly get an idea, a strong sense of what this does, or is there still a fair amount of misunderstanding out there? I mean, I read the numbers, and I'm not a math person. I'm not a big numbers person. So when you start seeing some of these larger numbers, you kind of gloss over them. But what are some of the ways too that you just say, listen, this helps with blank. This helps with blank in a way that people are able to understand better.
Well, ultimately, I think there is still a lot of confusion with it. To be honest with you, before I joined on to this, I was still confused about the difference. What is a bond? What is a levy? We just passed all this money that we just gave. Why do we need more money, right?
Yeah.
And then now just being much more involved in it, you understand a little bit more, as you mentioned already, Jeff, that the bond was for building. So we got those 2 beautiful new schools as well as some facelifts for a lot of the other schools. So now what this levy is going to be for is a lot of those educational programs, a lot of the academies that Dr. Apostle was talking about, to start maintaining those, giving us the funds to help at-risk students, or having those officers available on campus to keep everyone safe, and just a lot of different programming that just wouldn't be available to the schools if the levy doesn't pass. And also the reality is that if the levy doesn't pass, not only do we not get the funds from that levy, but we also don't get $3 million a year from the state. So the state of Washington gives us $3 million to help with a lot of these things, but if they don't see a commitment by the community, we don't get those funds.
Exactly.
So that's why it
Exactly.
becomes more important that we
Wow.
do.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So this is going to be voting on February 11th. So before too long, you'll get those ballots in the mail, and it's a
Right.
50+1, as we
Yes.
were talking with the North Mason superintendent this week here on the air. And it's important to get those facts that, if however you fall on this one, for sure make sure you're fully aware of all the information out there. SheltonSchools.org has it linked right on their front page. There's a website on Facebook for the Citizens for Shelton Schools, and again, you guys are big time in the community, so you're out and about talking with all sorts of folks trying
Right.
As much as we can.
to
Much as we
answer
can.
these. Brad Miller and Kristy Buck are the co-chairs for Citizens for Shelton Schools, and they're talking this morning on the levy facts and the upcoming replacement levy. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Vote yes.